I was asked a series of questions. Alex Berenson, you guys remember Alex from, he's one of the smart people that was ahead of the COVID conversation and scored a lot of points there with the way he handled the COVID situation. Someone I have respect for. He seemed upset with me and my line of questioning for Glenn and my exchange with Glenn, and he tweeted at me that, I don't know, could you separate MLK's courageous fight for civil rights from his immoral man-whoring? What people do with other consenting adults is their business, especially unmarried people, though the Bible okays all kinds of adultery. Judge not, lest ye be judged. And he sent that to me. And Alex, I get it. And I'm gonna have this discussion on the post-harmony deal, and then I've done an interview that we will release within the next week or two, a big, long discussion with Chad O. Jackson about MLK and his legacy. Do we have my response to Alex Berenson? Do we have that? We may not. Let me, I want to keep the record clear and make sure that I can freelance, because in my opinion here, but let me find it. Darn it. Sorry about this, guys. Stick with me. It's worth it. That's Allie Beth. That's thanks for the reply. Reading, blah, blah, blah. I hear you, Chris. Man, I texted, posted a lot about, here we go. Hi, Alex. Thank you for the question. At this point, we probably disagree on the courageousness of MLK's fight for civil rights. I don't view it as a net positive, but that's another discussion. I hold MLK to a different standard than Glenn Greenwald. MLK presented himself as a Christian. I'll hold him to the standard he set. He failed. In many ways, we all fail this standard. But not all of us take on the role, title, position of pastor, minister, disciple. Not all of us get introduced as America's moral conscience, as A. Philip Randolph and others introduced Dr. King. Dr. King's sexual immorality likely baited him into preaching a false gospel. Dr. King's hidden man-whoring likely gave Marxist/communists leverage over him. And that might explain why the civil rights legislation passed after his movement ushered in so much Marxist thinking and strategy. So, at this moment, I cannot separate MLK's immorality from his fight for civil rights. His immorality impacted his social movement/gospel. This is where I stand now. I'm always open to new information and perspective. I bring this all up because there are people that want American culture to be improved. They want to make America great again. And it cannot be done without men harnessing their sexual lust, without men pursuing holiness. These terribly sexually compromised leaders and men, they can't do it. They're being controlled by their sexual lust. MLK was likely chosen because of his lack of sexual discipline. And I know many of you right now aren't fully prepared to have a discussion, an evaluation of MLK's legacy. But that day of reckoning is coming. All history must be challenged. Every single bit of it. And this is why, again, Glenn Greenwald wants to participate in the challenging of history. Clean yourself up, my friend, so that you can be a full combatant and a respected combatant in that challenging of American history. that you can't do it while being a sexual degenerate. You will be run out of the arena. And so there are questions about World War II that people want asked and answered. There are questions about JFK's assassination that people want asked and answered. There are questions about what did the Civil Rights Act of 1964 really do? They want those questions asked and answered. And there will be people whining and crying about these questions. There will be people that think they are the chosen ones, whether they're Black or Jewish, whining and crying about these questions because there's some special level of victim and there are narratives that must be protected or you're racist or anti-Semitic. We are living in a time, and this is where I got to give Trump or God credit, of because of the fake news era and the fact that it's now been put into play by Donald Trump to question everything. And in order to get America back on course, we have to question everything. And so someone this weekend said, well, what was Dr. King's message? If, he was arguing for content of character over skin color. And I'm like, that's what he said in a speech for a brief second. But go look at the Civil Rights Act. Did that usher in content of character over skin color, or did it usher in skin color and sexual identity over content of character? Dr. King pulled off the okie doke. He promoted a brand through a single speech and a single line in a speech that made everybody ignore the reality of what he was actually pushing for and what his civil rights movement actually accomplished. It prioritized skin color and sexual identity over content of character, over merit. That's the uncomfortable truth that we must deal with. And then there's other aspects in terms of, as I said, this man walked around and called himself some sort of a Christian, but he didn't believe in the resurrection. He didn't believe in the virgin birth. He preached a social gospel and said so publicly. He didn't preach about salvation. We have to deal with that because these narratives that have been installed and haven't been questioned have been driving America off a cliff for 60 to 80 years. I wanted someone like Glenn Greenwald to be a participant in these discussions and still do. But he's got to repent. He's got to walk away from the sexual depravity. He has to take on an identity that goes well beyond his penis. Has to. Or he's put the rest of us in a place where we're going to have to back up and back away from him. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.